Welcome, everybody, back to the All Red, White, and Blue show. And we are here again with another fantastic crew. I'm Mike Allred, obviously, and then we have Kaz. How you doing, Kaz?
Hey. Good.
Did you have a good weekend?
Excellent. Absolutely.
Good. We have the captain.
Hey, Mike.
Also had a good weekend, right?
Great weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great weekend.
Got to see a good game.
Spend some time at the yard in the sunshine.
Camden Yards. Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Sorry, let's get it right. And then Scott.
Hey,
Scott's
guys doing?
rejoining us. Thank you. After a little layoff.
Been off for a little
Been
while.
working hard. You're a hard-working man.
I was in my own yard. I wish I was in the other yard.
Yeah,
but unfortunately,
exactly.
I was in my own yard.
Well, it's a special one tonight because we have a special guest with us, a friend of Scott's, a gentleman by the name of Eric Fisher.
Yep,
Eric,
that's me.
welcome.
People just call me Fish.
Did they call you Fish?
Yeah, they do.
Scott told me that, but I was afraid to.
No, it's
insult
fine. No. My dad was Fish. I'm Fish. My kids are Fish.
Everybody's Fish.
Everybody's Fish.
So are you a school?
The school thing.
We're so clever.
That was terrible.
It was bad. You know, I thought it was going to be funny, and then we both said it.
I know.
I would have went with filet-o-fish.
Anyway, so glad you're joining us today, Eric. And is it okay to call you Eric, or you just want to be?
No,
called
you can
Fish?
call me Eric. It's
Okay,
cool.
all right.
Whatever. I'm not weird about
I
it.
don't feel good about Fish yet.
That's
I don't
cool.
know.
All right. We're just starting to get to know each other a little bit.
Yeah. But welcome to the podcast tonight.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. We'll get more into why you're here,
Right.
as we go a little bit more into this podcast. So, what went on this weekend or this past week? Anything good? Go ahead, Captain.
No,
What do you got?
at the yard, Jackson Halliday got his first hit. Finally.
Hold on,
We
hold
were
on.
there. The place was electric. It was electric when he got that hit. So,
It looked good. I mean, I wasn't watching it on TV, obviously, but it was cool. Everybody was standing up, and
oh yeah. I'm sure,
Everybody's
I'm sure
so
he's
anxious.
thrilled to get it
Oh my
behind him.
God.
That must be huge.
I think the whole city just took a nice
Big sigh.
big sigh of relief.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know, but isn't that cool though?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
it's cool.
to everybody kind of rooting for.
Yeah,
And I think Cal went 0 for 13 when he started his career.
is that right?
Yeah,
Oh, for 13?
0 for 13.
Is that what Jackson was?
He was
close.
either 0 for 13 or 0 for 14. It was right around the
Yeah,
same.
right about the same.
Yeah.
I think I heard Adley also went into a slump. Like he had one, like his first game, he got a hit,
Right. And then he.
but then he went into a slump right after that. Yeah, it makes sense.
Putting the stress on themselves is what it is.
I don't know.
They put the pressure on themselves
Yeah.
because there's
Can you
tons
imagine?
of pressure. Yeah.
But yeah,
sitting
you look
there
back
and
at the pictures that he
50,000
faced his first couple games. They were the pitchers were insane.
Awesome.
They were just pitching lights out. So yeah, he came in a rough time.
Well, that's good. Well, like you said, it's good to get it under the belt, and he's going to be a heck of a ball player if he stays healthy. That's for sure. But yeah, it was good to see the city come out and cheering that guy, and it was a good game. You guys saw a good
It
game.
was a real good game.
For time reference, it was the Milwaukee series.
Definitely a different field, different vibe. Yeah. There's a lot of optimism.
So much talent.
Yeah.
If they nail down the pitching part, can you imagine? But I guess every team's got its challenges.
Yeah, we got to keep our pitchers healthy. The pitchers in Major League Baseball are dropping like flies right now.
Yep.
Crazy.
So what were you up to, Kaz?
Pitching wins championships.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Every time.
We had some hail today, apparently.
Did we?
Yeah. In
Missed it.
Darlington. And I mean, big hail. Big hail.
Did you have it at your house before you left?
I didn't have it at my house, but the storms came in and the wind got really crazy.
I heard
and
thunder.
and it started to rain, but people right down the street from me, decks completely covered with,
Really?
with massive hail. Yes.
The spring storms.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
It was unseasonably warm today though too.
Yeah.
It was. Yep. That's why I got the sun today. You can see it in my face.
Oh, is that today?
Yeah, I cut the grass again today.
Out on the zero turn?
I was out on the turn and I was doing some weeding and then the storms came and chased me in and then that hail showed up.
Scott?
Not
What are you up to?
much. I work. Well, I've been working on the week. I've been working Saturdays, and then Sunday I just kind of did some work around the house.
And you're dealing with a little bit of a boo-boo, aren't you? A little injury?
Yeah, I got a little. I think I got a torn meniscus, but it's
When you get it checked? Do you have an appointment?
from what I understand. Well, my insurance makes me go through. It's going to make me go through the PT first.
Oh, I
before
think you did
get
say
the
that. Yeah.
MRI. which, I wasn't thrilled. And, everybody could have their own opinions on stuff. Like I was telling you on the phone, the one thing that I did like about it is at least they explained to us is, look, most people go in for an MRI and they find out that they're going to have surgery.
Right.
Well, 95% of the people say, I don't want surgery. So they're like, dude, we're not going to bring you in here to say that you don't want surgery and then just go through PT. So they normally put you through PT. And then after that, if it's still bothering you, then they're like, come on in, we'll schedule for an MRI. Yeah. But it's life, man.
Thing with meniscuses though, they don't get better.
I understand.
It's cartilage, so it's a tear. So if it,
I think they're just saying if it's manageable, if
the pain's manageable,
if you can live with that versus going in and getting
stall a little bit. So you don't know it's a tear yet. You haven't had that.
Correct. I mean,
imaging?
The physical therapist obviously has to be somewhat tight-lipped. Can't say, hey, it is or it isn't.
So you've already seen the therapist.
Oh yeah, I've been going to PT for 4 times already.
Okay. All right. So they probably have a good idea.
but the PT guy can't really say is or isn't anyway.
No.
Because
He
you gotta
They're
have
just
you
guessing.
gotta have images.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you'll know soon.
Yeah.
You
Well,
said it's getting a little better.
The one saving grace is I can pedal my bike. So from a
It's all about the spin bike.
from psychological. Actually, I took my bike out on.
Did
on
you
the road.
really? You went on the road?
Just physical therapist wasn't very happy with that one, but
How did you do it in the first place? Do you know?
yeah, I fell off. It's typical.
Stair.
Thinking I'm on the first rung, stepping down to the floor, and I was on the second rung. So when I went down, just twisted around the ladder, and my foot slid to the other rung, and I couldn't spin out. It just caught me, and then I swung around the ladder, and this was pointing this way, and everything else was pointing that way. And
That's a typical old guy injury.
yes.
It always starts with a ladder too.
So you
Take that in good faith. As someone who knows.
in any way, it's it's cool. Just kind of
Yeah.
exercise some patience, which
You'll get through that. Yeah.
yeah, we should be good. But yeah,
Well, you guys got a connection, you and Eric. Why don't you talk about that connection?
we do okay.
Yeah. I mean, hail chasing.
There you go.
Not chasing. You weren't a hail chaser, but I was in claims for 23 years in insurance, and Scott was working for a roofing company at the time, and we met on a few jobs, just looking at some roofs, and Scott just impressed me as just somebody that was always really honest about what he saw. And
Good on a ladder.
Always shot it straight. Never fell off any ladders when I was around. But
That's cool, though.
yeah, but that's probably been 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And we ran into each other recently at a class at
What kind of class was it?
Hartford Community College. It was better education. Just it was a cycling class. It was a spin
what kind of class?
It was a spin class.
Big class. That's right. Yeah. That's what I was trying to
They like busting us.
There it is.
There was spandex involved.
Lots of spandex.
Actually, the weirdest part was we were both standing at the urinal when I said, "Hey, is your name Scott?" Do you remember that, Scott?
What gave you away?
How many times does that move work?
So I stared at the wall for a couple minutes.
Who the hell is this guy?
You are
At least you use Scott, not another name.
you are officially served.
Yeah, but it was 10
If I had $1 for
Yeah.
every time that happened to me.
Watch your six, buddy.
Oh, man. Oh,
Yeah.
we've gone off the rails already.
Sorry.
We're only 9 minutes in. All right. Well, good. And let's see what else. What else has occurred? I don't want to jump too fast, but we're barely avoiding World War III apparently.
Yeah. Haven't had any more bridges fall.
And no bridges have fallen, thank God. Yeah. So apparently, I was hearing today, and then I remembered that I remember hearing this, I think on Friday, that the Intel community, Captain, you might know something about this. The Intel community was saying that that there was a possible attack going to happen to Israel from Iran on Friday within the next 2 days.
Yeah, 48. I think it's 48-hour time.
And then,
It was the worst secret ever.
Yeah. Well, that's my point. Is that hold on?
Yeah, they telegraphed.
If they knew that, why Or is there something they could have done in advance? Why wait till it happens? I guess at this point, if you either know or you don't. It sounded like the president was kind of like unaware. I don't know. I don't know. It just seemed weird. It just, who telegraphs that a couple of days, then it happens. It wasn't like, oh, maybe we'll get hit within a couple of weeks.
Well, it makes sense if you think about it, though. They had to respond. They had to save face. This is Iran.
Right. Okay.
And so they're going to do that, but they don't want to escalate things too far, but they know they have to do something. So they're going to send these volleys of UAVs and ballistic missiles and cruise missiles and everything. But they're going to tell everyone, hey, you got 48 hours. They're going to come this way, that sort of thing. So they're, again, and they can control the media where they're at. So they can control the narrative.
Notifying us?
What's that?
Why are they notifying everybody? Are they notifying people because out of the goodness of their heart, they're trying to warn you to get out of town, or
they don't want to escalate? They don't want it. They don't want half of those missiles to come down on civilians in Tel Aviv and everywhere else. And now it's really going to escalate things, right?
Okay, so it's more of a.
So if they know that the
PR
Israelis
thing.
and the coalition have the ability to take most of these things out with forewarning, then okay.
Coalition being us and
Yeah. Other
mostly,
countries.
I guess.
I mean, that you really don't need forewarning. When you know it's coming, they say, well, within 48 hours. Well, anytime, when that happened, we knew they were going to retaliate. Within the next 2 weeks, you have to be, 100% you're on point. So anything that's coming that way is going to, you're going to have to shoot it down, or if you have the means to shoot it down, you're going to. We don't need, or they don't need them to say, hey, by the way, it's coming this way and it's coming tonight at 3:00. So you might want to look northeast and
Right.
and look up in the sky because it's coming. They don't need that. They have the technology and they're going to be on it. Not to say that they were on an October 7th. So how that was an epic failure of many magnitudes.
Well, and that was their proxy coming in instead of them.
But they had no idea that was going to happen.
Right.
And
That's
it was so coordinated, like 5 or 6. They were taking out military bases and stuff and cutting through walls, and people were like taken off details on the wall and placed someplace else because of whatever the religious holiday was, and they had no intel that was going to happen at all, including the U.S. Nobody had any intel on that. And apparently, they weren't using cell phone communication at all. Everything was word of mouth. So they had great OPSEC, and took them all by surprise. So that's an epic failure that still needs to be looked into and find out why that happened and how that happened, and make sure it never happens again. Because if that can happen like that, anything can happen. Epic disaster.
Sure. By the way, can I just tell you how pretty you look tonight, Jim?
Oh, thank you very much.
Kaz has shaved off the
beard.
What do you call that? It was a Chris Stapleton beard.
It was Chris. Yeah, it was. We had the Chris Stapleton thing going on. The hair down past his shoulders and the hair on the face.
I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah.
Of
It's all
executive
gone.
days.
It's all gone,
You're
folks.
all shaved.
It's all
Wow.
gone.
Good for you, buddy.
Yeah.
I still don't believe it's him.
You should do that every couple of months. Just throw people off.
You know, it got
Grow it,
uncomfortable when I was in
shave
the
it,
hot
grow it,
yoga
shave it.
thing. I just got so uncomfortable. I had to get rid of it. It's just so-
Can you imagine if you were spinning? Whew. Get caught in the spokes.
Get used to it, Eric.
That's all right.
Oh, that's great.
Word of the day is Lycra.
What else? Anything else this week? Newsworthy, guys? Other than sports? Other than the Orioles and World War III, possibly?
Trump's trial started today.
Oh,
In
did
New
it start
York.
today?
Yep.
What were they doing? Jury selection?
Yes.
Did they actually select any yet, or is it all just prep?
I doubt it. Yeah.
Next topic, I'll go ahead and pull this up because the captain sent this to me earlier today, and I thought this was an interesting article because I think I told you, Captain, that this is something that I had actually been thinking about for the last several weeks. It actually ties in a little bit with what our discussion will be later tonight, but it's an article from CBS News where critics call out the plastics industry over the fraud, quote, the fraud of plastic recycling. Now, I don't know about you guys. Tell me what your thoughts are on this. This is something and I know some people that I know have kind of suspected for a long time now. And this article, this lady, her name's Jan Dell. She's a former chemical engineer. I'm going to read part of the article here, just so we have the premise. She has spent years telling an inconvenient truth about plastics. So many people, they see that recyclable label, I'm talking about the three arrows. Yeah, they kind of point to each other. So people see this, so they put them in the recycle bin. A lot of people who are environmentally conscious want to be doing the right thing, so they recycle. And she says, but the vast majority of the plastics that we put in there are not recycled. And I had heard, I guess maybe in the past, but I had suspected it for a long time. That I didn't think of it mainly as fraud, but I just thought it wasn't really going as advertised, I should say.
It's been a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Bunch of crap.
So apparently about 48 million tons of plastic waste is generated in the U.S. each year. 48 million tons. Only, get this, only 5 to 6% of it is actually recycled, according to the Department of Energy. So, she's not just throwing these numbers out. These are government numbers.
And I think those numbers are even skewed. That they think.
I think you're right.
They think those numbers are the numbers that are getting recycled because years ago we lost a contract to China. We were shipping all our recycling to China to get it recycled, but they weren't recycling either. They were
what?
They were
They lied.
They lied. They lied. They weren't recycling either.
Yeah, what were they doing with it?
Yeah. Well, they were burning it. They were putting it on barges and shipping it out to sea. All different types.
So they're
of
getting
things.
paid to recycle.
They were getting paid to recycle.
But they're doing whatever they want.
But they're doing, yeah. Well, it became cost inefficient to recycle it. It costs more money to recycle plastics and then turn them into new products than it is to just get the petroleum and get the chemicals and make new plastic. Right. So it became inefficient and it cost too much money to recycle, but they couldn't not recycle. So you have the two trash cans, the trash and the recycle, and they get picked up in two different trucks and they go and they all go to the same place.
Well, you brought up money, and the money's apparently that's the driving force behind all this.
Exactly right.
And Mike, you were saying, and clear me up if I'm wrong, but you were saying but you started with that. All plastics aren't recyclable, correct?
Correct, and that's the other part of this.
That's what I was.
It's not that just they're not recycling it. Some of them they can't recycle.
Right.
And in fact, this goes on. It says that. Let me see if I can find that part.
So that's not the 5%.
5 to 6% that they're claiming is recyclable.
Right. The stuff that they can recycle.
So that means over 90% is not.
Yeah.
Even though it can be.
Okay, so that was just getting some clarification.
It costs too much money.
Well, and here we go. They said that there's not even the technology that can recycle some of it. A lot of it,
like
the technologies hasn't even caught up to where they can properly recycle it, I guess I should say, because of the way they're made with the chemicals and the fuel. Here they created a lie about how. Okay. Oh, here's the other thing. So apparently in the 70s, when recycling started to become a big thing, there was this movement to ban plastics. Now, I'm barely old enough to remember that period, but I kind of remember, it was a big issue. Plastics was a big deal. So there was this movement in the 1980s, because it's made from oil and gas. It comes in thousands of varieties, most of which cannot be recycled together. But in the 80s, when some municipalities moved to ban plastic products, the industry started promoting the idea of recycling as a solution.
Right.
So they were so afraid, apparently, that they were going to ban plastics. And plastics is a huge, huge industry. The money is coming in. And they're like, hold on, we can't ban plastics.
No kidding.
So we're going to come out with this thing.
Yeah, because they're going to come out with straws that aren't plastic anymore. And then what do you do? I mean,
wood. Exactly. We'll go back to wood. Wood straws.
But everybody thinks of plastic as, what my drink cup comes in or the Tupperware and stuff like that, your food containers, that's the type of plastic that people think about. What they don't think about is
spandex.
90% of your clothes, 90% of your clothes is synthetic material, which is all comes from petroleum. So if you got rid of all plastics, we'd all be sitting here naked.
Yeah, that's right. at a trade
Except for your
conference.
I'm going
cotton shirt.
silk. I'm going silk.
Your silk or your cotton shirt, but anything,
Again?
yeah.
Jeez.
All your high tech winter gear,
Yeah.
that's not down. It's all plastics. It's all
Right,
all
you're
from
right. Nobody
petroleum
thinks
based.
about us playing plastic.
There's no
all-
way.
it's
I never
all-
thought of it.
Absolutely, it's all petroleum.
So in 1994, an Exxon executive, Exxon, of course, tells the staff of Plastics Council that when it comes to recycling, quote, we are committed to the activities, but not committed to the results. So it's basically a big PR move
Yep.
to save plastics. And the oil industry, of course, is right behind it.
Here's another great thing to think of, like REI and all those great outdoorsy places that are so green. You know, save the earth, environment, and save the whales and all this stuff. And all their products are made out of oil.
I want to say at least 90%.
90% of them are made from synthetic materials to put on your back for hiking and mountain climbing and camping, and to keep you from frostbite and freezing to death. All that outdoor gear, rainproof stuff, all that stuff is made from plastics, from oil.
So I guess my question is then, we can't turn back from that.
No.
I mean, what? I'm not sure.
No. I think
I mean, what would you?
initially it's awareness. Everybody's got to realize what they're dealing with.
Sure.
And
Is
we're
real
going to get
fur
into
coming
why that's important here in a minute with Eric. I know. How are we going to connect these dots?
What a segue.
But the industry, this is the American Chemistry Council. Get this. Here's their response to all these reports. They said that the reports are flawed and outdated, and they say plastic makers are working hard to change the way that plastics are made and recycled. So they launch a new ad campaign called Recycling is Real, okay, and says that it's investing in what it calls an advanced recycling technology. Now, who the heck is going to start believing these people now? For the last several decades, they've been lying just to keep it going. But anyway, the lady that was behind this article, she doesn't believe it either. She says it's the same process they were trying 30 years ago. And my response to that is, same as my response, by the way, it's science fiction, not science. So
Yeah, I've seen some things how they recycle. Like back in the day, when you think of recycling, you think, okay, well, we're going to take these white plastic bottles. I'm going to take those green ones, and they all have different numbers: 2, 1, 3, 4. And you're going to combine the like numbers together, and you're going to melt them down, and you're going to make them into new plastic bottles or what have you, whatever they came from, or whatever product. But there's other things that you can do with that other than recycle them into the same product. Like I saw a product being made out of all of those different plastics. They were all put together. They weren't separated. They were ground up with a machine and pulverized into real small fragments. And then they added some type of other polymers and adhesives,
more chemicals.
And they pressed them. They pressed them in like some 50,000-pound press, and they made them into these Lego blocks with holes. And they were literally building houses and building foundations out of them, like cement, like concrete cement blocks. But they were made all out of plastic, and they're waterproof, and they're tough as nails.
And listen, I'm not even saying that that's necessarily a bad thing.
No, that's not bad.
I mean, in a way, that is recycling.
That's thinking outside the box.
Yes.
It's recycling,
You're
but
reusing
but you're
the
reusing
products.
it in a different
Yes,
way. Yep.
exactly. But this comes down to, I don't know if you guys remember, Scott, I'm not sure if you were here for this conversation, but we had a conversation about, remember we were talking about fasting or water fasting, and we talked about, and Jim, you were instrumental, I think, in this particular part of it when we were talking about the amount of the impact of that particular activity on rebuilding and restoring our cells in our bodies. And one of the reasons why we have these issues with the cells, where they're kind of dying off in the first place, for lack of a more scientific term, because of our exposure, but to chemicals, to the environment, to the nutrition problems that we have in the food industry,
The microplastics.
and the microplastics are huge. and it's something that doesn't get talked about. We talk about nutrition a lot. We talk about fitness. We talk about the pharmaceuticals that we put in our bodies, but we don't necessarily talk about it. And I think now it's kind of becoming evident as to why. There's been this behind the scenes effort to kind of quash this whole conversation. But it does have an impact on us. And I think it's one reason why we have to have this type of reset that takes place from a metabolic standpoint. And again, I'm no scientist and I'm no doctor here, but I'm just telling you, based on what we've been reading a lot lately and what I've been seeing, we have this metabolic reset that's necessary at a cellular level in our bodies that we don't get unless we consciously go after it. And that might mean the water fast. That might mean staying away from certain types of foods. It also might mean cleaning up our environment. You know, how many times do I drink from a plastic bottle like this? I don't know how much. I've heard if you leave that stuff sitting in a car for a few days and then you drink it,
temperature.
yeah, that can actually make you sick. Maybe not initially, but go ahead, pop it.
Imagine putting something like that in the microwave and heating up your food in it.
Good point.
That's an excellent point.
Microwave safe says too.
Giddy up.
Yeah.
Is that because I just popped it?
That's traditional.
Nice.
Yeah, we got to call the giddy up.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. First of all, that we start bringing more attention to that. That article. I'm so glad, Captain, that you sent that to me, because I think that really summed up some of the suspicions that I was having, and I'm sure a lot of people were having. I don't know. What brought it to your attention anyway?
I was just skimming the news, my news feed, and it popped up. And I know we talked about that.
Right.
One of the earlier podcasts.
Yeah.
It came up, and it wasn't a long conversation, but we talked about
recycling?
recycling and,
Okay.
and sort of, you know, and I've always heard, you know, they're not recycling that stuff anymore. And I've always heard about the China thing, and,
right.
There's only
and
a
they've lost
few.
the contract, and so they're not even doing that. And so, when you go out to your blue bin and you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, yeah.
What am I really
worth
doing
it?
here?
And it's not. Let's just call it for what it is. It's not worth it. If you're only getting 5 or 6%, again, according to their numbers, then it's probably closer to like 1 or 2%. And they say you go to landfills, you're finding
Well, I'd be interested.
plastics.
I'd be
They just
interested
dump
in
it.
knowing whether the local trash companies actually just take their blue recycle trucks and go right to the dump.
You know what? We probably
I'd love to follow
we
them
gave
one
it
day.
away, but we should have done a little surveillance. Jim, I should have sent you on that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we can do a little work there.
And there's only there's
put
only
you on the truck.
There's only a few. I'm going to grow my hair back out.
But to be fair, I don't know. Like when it comes to paper, is paper that much more recyclable, and so they do a better job with
Right.
paper versus plastic? I don't know. I don't know.
I think you're probably right. You know what? You're probably right, since that's what wood based. I
And
guess.
it
But
all goes into the same bin.
It goes
then
in
they
the
have
same
to-
bin.
So then they have
They
to
gotta
spend
sort
money
it.
and resources
Who's
to
sorting
sort it
that?
out.
the labor to sort it out.
Nobody's
Right.
sorting
Yeah.
that stuff.
all right.
No, exactly. That's what I
Do,
think so.
do any of us really have an idea who's sorting anything?
Nobody's
Yeah, exactly. Who's
I don't
doing
think
that?
it is. I think it all goes to the same
And
pile.
who put that pizza box in there? You're not supposed to put pizza boxes in there.
Can't you put it in there? I put it in all the
All
time.
right, yeah.
You're the
I
problem.
feel like somebody's chasing. I feel guilty. I'm like, oh shoot, man, somebody's gonna see that pizza box. I shouldn't even be eating pizza anyway. But anyway, so it's. I think it's important that we are at the limit that we can just bring up more of an awareness to this, and then start calling it for what it is. We're getting lied to. We're getting scammed. It is a scam, and we've kind of known it. We just haven't really seen some of the hard evidence of it yet. And I don't know. To me, it's frustrating. It's frustrating from a point where you don't like being lied to by the industry, but it's also frustrating on what it's doing to us. And I think it's just as bad as the nutrition, and it's just as bad as the pharmaceutical. All these industries are tearing us up. And again, I was thinking about this earlier today. We become so, I don't know, what's the word? It's this incremental,
Convenience.
yes, convenience and usefulness, I guess is what I'm trying to say, where if somebody had come to us in 1980 and said, hey, look, we're going to give you a bunch of useful products, new stuff. We're going to flood your whole society now with useful products. They're going to be great. But just so you know, in about, by the time you're in your late 40s, 50s, you're going to have to deal with obesity, diabetes, cancer. heart disease, you name it. That's the trade-off. But we're really going to make your life as easy with some really great products here for the next.
All of that
couple
comes back
decades.
to obesity. So you can say obesity, but all the other ones that you just said all relate back to that obesity.
You're right.
Back to obesity.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and before all of that, the very first thing should have been self-accountability. So if you got yourself into the obese situation and it caused diabetes, heart disease, and what have you, then the common denominator is self-accountability as well.
And that goes back to the question. If somebody comes to you in late 70s, early 80s and says, for the convenience of what we're going to give you, that's the trade-off. We'd be like, go to hell. We're not going for that. That's ridiculous. But look what's happened over the years where it just slowly creeps in and everybody keeps lying. It keeps lying. And then they're like, oh, you just need sugar-free.
And you rely on it just like the cell phones that we get addicted to. Yeah. You start looking at your cell phone. Next thing you know, you're on your cell phone for how many hours a day? When you never had it, you never knew you didn't need it, or you didn't, and you were out doing other things. But now that you have it, if I took it away from you, I guarantee you we'd be fighting because you can't deal with it. You can't
fight.
Yeah,
have you seen them in schools?
Absolutely. You can't deal with not having your cell phone for an hour.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So I mean, it's
and by the way, what happens when you put this thing up next to your head all the time?
Yeah, same thing.
Do you remember all those studies back when the cell phones were first a thing?
Yeah, I think they're stronger now.
Yeah,
and look what it's doing to the sound system when I keep it close. Right. So God knows what's happening as far as microwave. Again, I'm no scientist. I'm not going to try to figure out what's happening to you medically, but there's something going on, and all you have to do is look. You've seen these pictures. You go back and look at the beach pictures and the group pictures on the boardwalks and stuff from people in the late 60s, early 70s. Yeah. Nobody's fat. Nope. Nobody's out of shape. Everybody looks great. And then look at us now. It's like, maybe 5 to 10% look good. And I don't know. I think it goes hand in hand with what we were talking about earlier with the, at some point, you've got to take accountability, as Jim just said, for your own fitness, for your own health. And sometimes it means just doing a little bit of research.
And the way we work is all different too. Everybody, now sits at a desk. They're sitting behind a computer screen. That's how they do their job. Back in the day, they cut their grass with a non-self-propelled 22-inch push mower, and they didn't have that zero turn that they sat on while they're drinking their beer, going around the apple tree
with your headphones on.
Listening to Martha Stewart or something. I don't know what you're listening to, but
not me. I'm not listening to that one.
So there's just not a whole lot of agricultures, people and farms and stuff. That's all going away. It's just big conglomerates now.
Right. And going back again to what that article says, how much of it is involving plastics, and it's not just surrounding your environment, it's surrounding your body. It's touching you. It's in
the water. It's in the water. It's in everything.
Yeah. So anyway, just a note. Like I said, I appreciate it, Captain, that you sent that article, because I thought it's a good leaping point for what we're discussing tonight. And with that, I'm going to turn a little bit here, change the topic a little bit to Eric. Eric, you came to our attention because of some struggles you had gone through. And I didn't ask you specifics earlier when we were talking, but just why don't you, if you can, talk about what you were diagnosed with, and then just kind of start back at the beginning, like when it occurred and when it first came to your attention. And we'll go more into it, ask you some questions as you go into it. But
yeah, right on. So, it was back in 2020. It was before everything was starting to shut down. So we talked about biking earlier. I'm a pretty avid mountain biker. I spent a lot of time in the woods mountain biking, and I in the wintertime I kind of transitioned to doing more indoor cycle work, just because I hate the cold. So
we call it spinning here.
Let's call it what it is.
Yeah, let's call it for what it is. No lies here. It's a no lie network. Go ahead.
So right after the first of the year, I noticed it was just I was having some discomfort down below, and after I would do like a spin class, I noticed like the first time I used the restroom to take a leak, it was red.
Jeez.
So yeah, that kind of
That's a tip.
it was that got my attention. Reached out to my doctor, and he said, "Well, maybe you're going a little too hard. Like back off a little bit." He said, "You probably just straighten your kidneys." So he said, "Keep an eye on it." He's a mountain biker too. That's a tip. Find a fit doctor. Somebody that's in fit,
Good point.
good fitness. So we kept an eye on it. Well, I kept an eye on it. He didn't keep an eye on it, but so it just kept happening. So he said, "Well, go see your urologist and get checked out." So I thought maybe it was prostate. I had been getting up quite a bit in the night, urinating multiple times. I say multiple times, like 6-7 times a night. I wasn't getting much sleep.
Whoa.
Yeah, so. And that went on for quite a while.
And you were doing, it was just blood every time?
No, this is just like at night. So that was going on for probably a year before I started seeing blood.
I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah, no, you're good. So went in, had my prostate checked out. Everything checked out good there. And the doctor said, well, let's take a look inside, which I don't know if anybody out there has had this done, but it's terrifying. There's only one way into the bladder.
Oh, wow.
So they stick the whole camera crew up there, and it's
Eyewitness News.
yeah. So I kind of blew it off. I said, I don't really want to do that. I wasn't crazy about the doctor I was seeing. So I reached out to my primary again, and he gave me a really good referral to somebody local, and went in and just consulted with him a little bit. He kind of said the same thing. He said, you're pretty young. I was 47 at the time. And he said, I don't think there's anything going on here. He's right. You're probably just straining your kidneys, going a little too hard on the bike. But come back in like 2 weeks. We'll do a cysto. And I swear, man, I went back 2 weeks later. I almost walked back out because I was like, I just don't want to do this. The procedure takes 2 minutes. It's really nothing.
Wow.
It's uncomfortable. But he put the thing in and he watches the screen while he's got the machine up inside your bladder. And he just said, hey, man, you got cancer. And that was just matter of factly, just like that. And
Was it bladder cancer?
yeah, it's bladder cancer. Yeah.
So, Eric, when you said you didn't want to do it, it's because of the procedure, or you didn't want to know?
I just kind of,
Did you ever think it could have been?
I didn't think it could have
Okay,
been.
cool.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you were scared of
No, I just didn't. I just tried to minimize it.
Cool.
Minimize it.
Yeah.
I haven't always been great about getting checked out. So
No male is.
yeah, that's what I've heard.
No, it's the truth. It's
it's a man
for sure.
thing.
Yep. So yeah, I just remember just being in shock and walked out to the car. I called my wife and I told her kind of just like my doctor told me, and she was in shock. And
So was there a discussion with him after that statement, or like, here's where we go next?
Yeah. So we came up with a game plan. He said, really what we need to do is do surgery, but let's get you and your wife in here in a week and talk about what the next steps are.
Okay.
He had to send samples out because that was one of the things I said was, how do you know?
Right.
You see it too.
Yeah.
He's like, look, I've seen this a lot of times. And he said,
So what
I'm
do they
pretty
see?
sure.
Is it tumors?
It was a big tumor. Yeah.
Okay.
And I say big, it was probably like 10 centimeters,
Right,
maybe
right.
smaller than that, but the bladder's not really that
Right.
big. So, I mean, one of the main reasons I really ended up going to this new doctor was I blew off the first one for about a month. We had a couple of nice warm days in February and March, and I would get on my bike in the woods and go for a ride, and I couldn't sit on the saddle for more than like 10 minutes without feeling like I had to take a piss. So it was like something I really like to do that I couldn't do.
Right.
I was like, something's going on. So,
Okay.
yeah.
When you say you felt like you had to take a piss, when you went, you could go perfectly fine. You didn't have like a stoppage in stream or it was like plugged up. That's a classic prostate thing.
No, that's a negative. It would like drip out a little bit. Like there wasn't much coming out because most of what I was feeling was a full bladder, but it was full of tumor, not necessarily.
Well, the nerve. Well, there's the nerve. It's pressing on the nerve that tells you that you have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
When your bladder's not full at all.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. How did your wife take it?
I don't know. I mean, she's super strong. I mean, you know her mother.
Yeah.
They're strong women. So
But that's not the kind of call you get every day, you know.
no. So yeah, it was tough, man. It was tough news, but we went back a couple weeks later. It was confirmed. We got the stage. So I was stage 1. At stage 2, they take your bladder out. So there was like 3 stages before the stage that I was in. So what they say is if it gets into the muscle lining, you're screwed. They take it out so it doesn't spread and become stage 3, stage 4.
I always get confused on this. So is stage 1 the worst?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you were at the beginning, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Stage
So-
1 means it's been contained in the bladder.
Yeah.
And hasn't gone outside the bladder into the wall or any other organs. If it goes into another organ, then it goes to 3. And then when it goes into the lymph system, it's 4 and keeps going. And I think that's as high as it goes, 4.
Yeah.
How are
That's
you?
no matter what type of cancer, they still divide into 4.
Yeah.
How are you doing at this point mentally?
I don't know. I broke down a few times. Went to one of my best friend's house straight
Cool.
from there, and just like we hadn't even talked in a while, but it was good to just pick up where we left off. And just sat in his garage, had a few tears. Went home that night, more of the same. But then it was just like, all right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do whatever.
Good for you.
We went back and we met with the doctor. He told us what it was, what we needed to do. So the plan was 2 surgeries. He said and he outlined it really great. He said, first surgery that drops it to this percent that it's coming back, and it's still pretty high. It was like 70% chance it's coming back.
Jeez.
You have the second surgery, you can go back in and scrape out whatever maybe he missed the first time, because the bladder kind of expands and shrinks, and you can miss stuff the first time. We did the 2 surgeries. So this was April of 2020. So we're in full blown lockdown.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. That's-
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody could go in with me. It was just me.
Jeez.
My wife and my sister-in-law and my brother sat on the parking lot waiting for me to come out of surgery. We went, we did the first surgery, the second surgery, and then 6 weeks of chemo.
Now, after the second surgery, what's this percentage go down to as far as return?
It drops down. I think it went from 70% down to like 40% chance it'll come back.
So it's still not exactly gone.
Right. So the tumor's gone. Now they're treating it.
Okay.
Now
And that's the chemo.
Now they hit it with the chemo. Yeah. Yeah. So
What kind of chemo did you get?
So they call it BCG, which actually is not a chemo. It's got all right. How deep you want to go?
However deep you want to go.
So I'll roll you through the procedure. So you go in, they put a catheter in, you're wide awake, and they fill your bladder with this solution, and you have to leave it in for 3 hours, and you have to just lay on your couch or bed or whatever and roll.
And you feel like you got to go?
Yeah, you feel like you got to go. The hardest is trying to get home with a full bladder,
wow.
drive it. Yeah.
So that's the BCG. They put that in your bladder,
Yeah.
fill it up with the BCG, and then they send you home and say, don't go to the bathroom for 3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours. It's got tuberculosis is a live culture in there that for some reason that feeds on the cells. And I'm not a doctor.
Right,
I
right.
just going by what I remember
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
But so I had 6 weeks of BCG, And then like everything else that we had, there was a shortage on that. So we had to transition to an actual chemo for the second 6-week round of chemo.
Was it the same way that they used it, or did it
was
go
the same.
IV? No,
No, it was
in the
same.
bladder, same
Yep.
way.
Leave it in.
That must have been frustrating.
How long ago was
You
this?
just couldn't get your supplies.
2000,
Yeah,
4 years
2020.
ago. Yeah. 4 years ago this month.
2020. Yeah.
2020.
Yeah, 2020.
Okay, so in 5 years you're going to be in full, complete remission with nothing. Do you still get checkups every 3 months, 6 months, 4 months?
Yeah.
Was there a return?
Yeah,
between?
yeah. So I did the two. So the plan is the 2 6 weeks. It was really only supposed to be 1 6 week, and then you go back. They take a look. Everything looked good. They found some wonky cells that they send out
No, right.
urine samples and take cells. They saw something weird in the cells, so decided to hit me with another 6 weeks. So that's where the second week came in.
Okay.
So not second week, second round of
Of the real chemo.
yeah, yep.
Okay.
The plan from there is to like after you get that initial 6 week round done, in 6 months you'll do a 3 week round. They call that maintenance,
Right.
and that's for years. You do that every 6 months for a
Oh,
few
wow.
years. Yeah.
Okay. So you've been doing that since then, I guess.
Yeah. So I did the 2 6 weeks, went back in December of 2020, and we scheduled the first maintenance round for February. Went in and he found something weird, and he said, "Hey, it looks like it's back. So I'm going to send you to a robotics guy who's doing this."
Was it Da Vinci?
What?
Was it the Da Vinci?
No.
Oh, no.
It's it might have been. I don't know. But what they do is it's called a blue light system. So they told me it was new. They would fill your bladder with this blue, some kind of blue dye, and it will light up any cancer cells.
Oh.
So he can go with this robot and see whatever's lit up and just take it out. So I did that. That was March of 21. Yeah.
And this was all still bladder.
It's all bladder.
Okay.
Yeah, it never moved from the bladder.
Okay.
So when they took it
Spoiler
out,
alert.
when they took
Stayed there.
yeah, so when they took it out the second time, whatever was residual cells that they could see from the blue, they sent that off for biopsy, and it was confirmed that it was absolutely the same stuff.
So that's the thing, man. We went, so it's not supposed to light up unless it's cancer. And we came back on St. Patty's Day, and the doctor that did it, he said, "Look, your stuff came back." And he said, there was nothing there. He said it.
Wow.
Yeah. So
See?
I just remember my wife's Irish. I remember him saying like, "St. Patty's with you today," because like it shouldn't have lit up like that, but there's nothing there. So that was great news. From there, we went and just started doing the maintenance chemo. So did that every 3 months for the past couple of years.
How brutal was that? Were you down? It's pretty intense.
The side effects aren't really that bad.
Oh.
It's yeah. Like it's nothing like my father had pancreas cancer, and I saw that just wipe him out. You know, that was devastating for him. But
Well, that brings up a question then.
Yeah.
Because let's go back to one of the first questions was your reaction.
Mm-hmm.
That had to be what was on your mind when.
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, other than I'm still getting hung up on this first day where I can't imagine the emotions you're going through at this point. Were you feeling pretty confident? Were you in general, or was it an up and down day kind of thing, or what's going through your head that day?
Oh, it was brutal. Yeah, it was really bad. I mean, first you're just wondering how did this happen,
Right?
And I kind of trace it back to, well, I mean, we kind of know that I used to paint cars for a living, and this was really exposed to some really toxic stuff.
Yeah.
Painting cars using a lot of those,
Toluene,
yeah,
all that stuff.
isocyanates,
Yeah.
and it was
Benzene.
before the water-based paint came out,
Right.
The waterborne stuff. So
Were you still painting at this point?
no. This is This is probably 20 years after I was in the paint shop. Yeah. I used to smoke cigarettes too. So Doc said,
Not while painting.
sorry, I was taking a sip of beer. Yeah, definitely. That's not a good move.
No. No.
So you're dealing with the, like you said, the how. You have some suspicions as to how, I guess, at that point.
Yeah.
But now you got to decide how you're going to react to this whole thing. And listen, a lot of people don't react the way you just described. It's crippling
Yeah.
mentally.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it was rough. There was when we thought it came back. I mean, it's expensive. It's really expensive. And they want the money there that day, that morning. You're going in, yeah. When you're going in for surgery.
So wait, is it? Pardon me if I'm getting too personal here,
That's
but
right.
did you have insurance?
Oh yeah.
But they still want repayments.
But still the co-pays and stuff like that.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I work for an insurance company.
Well, that's a good point. You're
insurance.
right.
Yeah.
So you have to come up with the co-pays right away.
Yeah.
And they're expensive.
They're expensive. Because
Yeah, if you have like a cap,
you have
a
a
$4,000
deductible.
cap
You
or
have a
whatever, you might-
deductible.
well, that's true, yeah.
You got to meet your stuff. But
Jeez.
so
So you're getting slammed financially at the same time.
Yeah.
You're getting this news.
yeah.
That's great.
And there was a point
Thank you.
when we thought it when
you,
we thought
medical
it
community.
came back. I looked at my wife and I said, I'm worth more to you dead than alive. I have good health insurance. I got good life insurance. And,
Oh my gosh.
How many people say that? I bet.
dude, I bet it's a ton.
Yeah, 'cause a
I
lot of people don't
verbalized
have
that.
the insurance.
Yeah, I verbalized it to my wife, and then I verbalized it to a friend of mine, and he grabbed me by the collar and took me up to the brewery. We just sat there and talked, and
Yeah.
he was like, "No, fuck that, dude. You're doing this."
Yeah.
And my wife said the same thing. She said,
Sure.
"We're doing this. Like, don't think like that."
Well, you're the one now. You're feeling responsible, I guess, in a sense, to your your family, and
Yeah.
I get that. But that's what I'm saying. I can't imagine what's going through your
Well,
head.
And he has insurance. Imagine the people that don't have any
Exactly.
insurance, and they got a little nest egg for their retirement. And okay, then you say, okay, well, I am literally worth more to you financially dead than I am because I'm just going to drain it all and I'm going to die anyway. And then you're going to be broke,
Right.
and I'm going to be dead.
Think of the elderly,
Yeah, same
Yeah.
thing.
who have
Just take
very
it. Just
little-
wipes them
little
out.
pot.
Wipes them out.
Yeah.
So keep moving forward. Then now you've got this initial. How long did it take really before you felt like you were kind of getting a grip on what you're facing now?
Because they were spaced out 6 months apart, the different treatments. So you would go do treatment 3 months later, get a cysto, take a look inside, and then 3 months later start chemo again. So that was kind of the cadence from when I started maintenance chemo in 21 until just this past December
Yeah.
was my last treatment. So
Were you ever in Camp Lejeune?
I was not.
Okay.
I hear those commercials.
Yeah, I was just going to say because I might have just solved your financial problem.
Well, you did mention that you had some suspicions about the cause.
Yeah.
Was any of that confirmed over the years, or is it just still kind of like I have an idea
Just-
what did it? But
yeah, it's just kind of a speculation. I mean, there's so many toxins and that stuff, and that all kind of filters down to the bladder. So
And you were using a breather, right? A breather, so you weren't inhaling all that stuff. But you were washing your hands in it. That's the problem.
hands in it.
And it goes right through your skin, right into your bloodstream.
Yeah.
we were just talking about the environmental issues.
Yeah.
and I wasn't even thinking about that kind of stuff. But
I remember
yeah.
back in the day. I mean, my uncle, he used to wash. I mean, from painting and stuff like that, or grease or whatever. He used to wash his hands in gasoline.
Yeah.
To get it off if he didn't have
Lacquer
anything
thinner,
else.
minerals.
I've done
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Wash your hands in gasoline.
Yeah, back in the day,
Yeah.
it's got toluene in it and xylene. I mean, it's all carcinogens. Horrible, and it literally goes right into your
Right
skin,
in.
right through it.
You're absorbing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, once or twice in a lifetime ain't going to hurt you, but when you're doing it every day,
Every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
several days, well, okay. So what kind of impact are you feeling at this point physically from the treatment? Obviously you've already talked about some of the things that were going on physically with the cancer.
Yeah.
But now, hey, Nalu, what was going through now that you start treatment? Are you is it weakening you at all? Is it playing with your obviously your physical at this point?
Yeah.
Is that being reduced?
A little bit. I mean, I just try to stay focused on work. I worked 2 jobs through the whole thing. Never took a day off. Just kept
Kept your mind busy.
my
as
mind
well.
busy doing
Your
that.
mind
Yep.
busy. Yep.
Yep. It was really great. I have an older son and a younger son, and they were both home from college during the whole pandemic thing. So it was nice that we were all
Oh, right.
under the same roof, and I don't know, just having that family there, just family and friends. It was great to have that.
So you had a good
community.
support network
Yeah.
all around you, really.
Yeah,
You didn't have to go look for it.
Yep.
Did you tell your kids right away?
Yeah. Yep. Actually, my wife told them. Yeah.
I can't imagine.
How were they through it?
They don't care. No, they were.
Dad, I got high score. Dad, I'll talk to you about it later.
They were great. I felt like, they're older. My oldest is 24 and my youngest is 19 now. So you can see where they were at that point. And I think they're a little bit more clingy. They were. It was surreal for all of us.
Well, I mean, listen. And Jim, I think if I remember correctly, this is something you're very aware of, the whole cancer.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not the same, obviously, same type, but it's still cancer, and the impact it can have on you and your family and things like that. And that's, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to be able to, as a group here, be able to have these kind of discussions. Just out of curiosity, out of the 5 of us sitting here, how many have had either personally had it or had somebody in their family? And I know, Jim, you're one. There's 2. And you guys, either of you?
My brother-in-law is going through some.
Okay, so there's 3 out of the 5. There you go. There's 60%. And this is kind of a bad sample group, but
It's crazy. We're still talking about cancer.
isn't it?
It's just crazy.
It just seems kind of strange that we've gotten almost, I shouldn't say we've gotten nowhere. We have gotten.
Well, I think it goes back to the environmental factors,
Right.
and it's all driven by money and all the chemicals, it's out there. I mean, we can't get away from our environment, and
And it's changing all the time, too. I mean, it's just.
Well,
Yeah. You fight one
treating-
battle and then something else gets you.
Treating cancer makes money.
Yes. Yes.
Treating cancer
That
makes
too.
money.
He just brought that up.
Treating cancer makes money, and curing cancer makes you nothing.
Not right. Well, so what did you change, if anything?
I've really changed over the past few months. So I got the all clear in December. Was the first time I got. I was fully expecting to go in, have them say, "Hey, it looks good," or "It looks bad." Looks bad, we're going to do another surgery and then more chemo. Or it looks good, we're going to keep doing chemo every 3 months. And when he said, "Looks good, I think we're done here." Like,
Oh,
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
awesome.
and
That's awesome.
that was just a huge weight, something I wasn't expecting. And so, I mean, right now the plan is to just every 6 months have that cysto. We're going to keep an eye on it. He's going to keep going in.
Right.
So I just scheduled that for June. But to answer your question, after I got that news, it was like a light switch just went off. Like, all right, let's get after this. Let's get healthy. Let's start making some changes. So, and I made some changes, but like just a whole different look on life right now. I feel like,
I was just going to ask you that. How's your perspective on life itself?
that changed
feel like this-
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
In what way?
You don't sweat the small stuff. There was a point. So I was in a different job, and I had a boss tell me after battling this for 2 years, we did a performance review. I was at top in my territory, and she was concerned that I hadn't tried to like move up the corporate to a different position.
Well, you had nothing on your mind.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just trying to live.
I
here.
told her, look, I'm the best person you have on the team, and I'm in survival mode right now.
Yeah.
And I ended up leaving. The company I'm currently with reached out, asked me to come on board, and I had been with them before. So, but stuff like that, I just didn't even. I don't have time for that stuff. You know, life is. You just start thinking about how short life is, and it's crazy.
And you're how old right now?
I'm 50.
You're 50 now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. My doctor, he didn't think I had anything either. He's like, "You're too young for this." But,
Yeah, bladder cancer is pretty.
yeah.
It's young.
Well, we're right there at your you're in our age
Yeah.
group. Sorry to tell you.
Yeah, I know. No, I know.
But actually,
yeah,
you
no,
and the captain are the same age.
Yeah, we're the same age.
Yeah.
So, question: have you changed anything for you and your family as far as? And you can talk about nutrition and all that kind of stuff, but like other things. And we were talking plastics earlier. You know, I mean, are you getting rid of plastics in your? Just an example. Some people do this, and I'm just curious if you were changed anything for your family. I mean, not that you know what directly caused it,
Right.
but I'm sure you have suspicions and about the things we deal with, every day. The
Yeah.
plastic bags, the stuff that our kids,
Cooking
Take-
on Teflon.
yeah,
Right.
I mean, they take their sandwiches to school in plastic bags and just everything. And some people go really far with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just curious if you thought about those things or made any changes like that.
Yeah, I've made a bunch of dietary changes mostly. I was listening to another podcast. Have you guys ever heard of Gary Brecka?
You mentioned that. Yeah, I'd heard of him,
Yeah.
but I've never listened to it.
I had a
Sorry, Gary.
that's right. That's right. I had a DNA test done back in, I think it was right after Thanksgiving, and found out a lot of information about what my genes say about what my body can process and turn into what it needs to be turned into, and found out a few things. Folic acid, something that my body can't process. I found out that 50% of the population can't process it. It's a man-made element that you can't find natural anywhere on the planet. So the government started spraying our crops with that back in the 90s. And if it's not bad.
Isn't folic acid a B vitamin?
It is.
Yeah.
But it's completely man-made.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So you should really
It's
be
also
getting that.
water soluble as well.
Yeah. And your body's supposed to be able to turn it into folate.
Folate, yes.
Yeah. So.
But 50% can't.
Mm-hmm.
Did not know that.
So the test came back, showed that was something that I actually couldn't process. So if I eat something organic, so if you buy something organic, it's not enriched with that folic acid.
They spray it on bread.
Yeah, they spray it on if it says enriched or fortified.
Anything
it's-
enriched or fortified
yeah.
is
Yep.
and it's all the B vitamins mostly. It's
Yep.
B6, B12, B2, 4.
Wow,
all
that's
that.
interesting. I learned something today. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I switched that up. I really avoid most processed stuff now.
Yeah, that's a big one for sure.
I'm not carnivore. I'm not keto. I just eat meat and vegetables, fruits. Just trying to do as natural as I can, and then supplements.
I was just going to ask you if you use supplements.
And you stay away from the folic acid supplements, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How about the mental side of it in terms of outlooks, like family things, quality time?
Yeah.
I don't want that to sound like have any of that. I'm sure some of that have changed. Like, hey,
Yeah.
savor every moment type of thing. And I don't know exactly how that's coming out, but it's just like, what's that one song? Like, live like you're going to die.
Oh, right.
Anything drastic like that, or not? I don't want to sound insensitive. I just didn't.
Sure.
Is there a bull named Fu Manchu in your future?
Yeah, did that song start to mean something? Yeah.
Dude, that song tears me up.
I bet.
It's
Good Lord.
It's good.
I can't listen to it. I never had cancer.
Yeah.
Michael, I'm the same way.
Yeah, I know.
It's almost like when I hear it, I'm like, you better don't take things for granted.
I almost think it'd be easier to face the physical part that you're coming than the emotional, the spiritual, the the relationship issues, all the things that probably start coming into your head that we don't think about all the time.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, like you said, you realize there's an end here.
Yeah.
Shoot, it might be coming sooner than later.
Yeah.
how does that hit you? Does it, are you in church more? That kind of thing.
Yeah,
what happens?
It's funny. I bought this calendar that I have sitting next to my desk up on the wall, and it's called Your Life in Weeks. And every week on Sunday, you just
Oh, fantastic!
so it's like
yeah,
year 1 through it goes up to like 88. And I see that every week, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm getting close to the end,
Yeah.
Father Time
And
is
we're not
undefeated.
Yeah, we're not guaranteed that 88 years,
not.
So I think about that stuff all the time. Like my oldest son's getting ready to move to South America. He's gonna be there for 2 years at the embassy in Paraguay, and I'm like, man, that's 2 years.
Marine. So.
Can't say,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, I mean, it's 2 years. We'll get down there, I'm sure. But I mean, my dad died when he was 60. His dad died when he was 60.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
I'm 50. I'm like, how many more times am I going to get to see this kid? When you start thinking like that, it's like,
No. Well, they say that kind of stuff all the time. It's like, oh, I see him. Oh, yeah, we get together once a year. Or like, if you have 10 more, you think
Yeah,
about
right,
it, you have
right.
10
Oh, 10
years,
more
you're gonna only
times,
see him
right.
10 more times.
Yeah.
I know that sounds so trivial, but that's kind of stuff hits me all the time. I'm like, gosh, when I think about it, gosh, you're only going to see him 10 more
Has
times.
it made the times together a little bit more meaningful for everybody?
Yeah.
Especially you, I guess.
yeah.
How did humor? I mean, you seem like kind of a humorous guy. So, how did that come into play, or did it?
Dude, I mean, like all my friends, I mean, to have something close to dick cancer with the friends my friends are brutal.
Perfect.
They
That's
really
just what
are.
you needed.
Like, yeah. I mean, I told them like my best friend used to own a bike shop in the Bel Air area, and we used to hang out there on Fridays. And I broke the news to everybody, and it was like pretty somber for the first couple minutes, and then they were all asking me, "Hey, can I have your rifles when you die? Can I have your bikes when you die?"
Oh, boy. That's officer humor.
As long as you don't start giving them out before you die.
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
That's the clue.
But I love that stuff. Like that. I don't want to be the downer at the party, so
Sure.
that was always pretty fun.
Yeah, you have a good attitude. I got to hand it to you. That
Yeah, that's incredible.
that's I didn't know you before tonight, but
Yeah.
I'm certainly impressed with the way you approached all this. And look, a lot of people don't have the benefit of coming out of it like you have.
Yeah. Well, that was something like one of the first things I
Tough.
did was like I got on Instagram and looked at the hashtag bladder cancer, and it was cool to see a really good community. But then I would start seeing guys that were just gone, and their wives would start passing, posting stuff. And
Boy,
that was tough to see.
yeah. I don't know if that would be a good or a bad thing.
No, I know. Yeah, it started out as awesome, cool, and it's like, oh shit, Fred's not around anymore.
Yeah.
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 So if you had to go back, did I cut you off? I'm sorry. If you had to go back and talk to young Eric prior to this,
Yeah.
would there be anything you'd be telling him or anything you'd change? Obviously, you didn't know the cancer was coming, but
Yeah.
but just in the way you live, the way you approach life, that kind of thing. Is there anything you'd say to yourself then?
Yeah, and I've made sure I've said that to my youngest. I kind of had I don't know. I grew up in a broken home, kind of. I had a good childhood with my mom and my stepdad, but I guess I never really felt like I fit in. It wasn't. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but as a result, I kind of had a live fast, die young kind of. I didn't really care. I didn't think
YOLO?
I didn't think I was going to make it to 40 anyway.
Living for the day and not for the future.
Yeah. So
I would think it's probably harder, Eric, like you can control yourself or, you're fighting through it, but I guess it's very difficult when you're seeing your family look at you to be like, hey,
yeah,
how to handle their emotions or how to handle their
Yeah.
concerns and worries and so forth. That's the stuff that I can't even imagine. I mean, I know that I feel like I could take care of myself, but then when you need to look at and you got to take care of your wife and you got to take care of your kids and everything, I commend you, man. That's tough right there. or what they're thinking. And Dad, are you going to be okay?
Yeah.
You know, those questions. And like you
Yeah, I'd
say,
be thinking like, what if the shoe was on the other foot? Yeah, what would if it was my wife instead of me? How would I be feeling? And then I'd start wanting to play that role. And God, I can't imagine what's go through your head when you're dealing with all that. But you know, I know we all have our crosses to bear at times.
Sure.
And you know, life is it's always going to catch up to all of us at some point.
Yep. Sure.
But you were a young man, and you are a young man, and you're just coming out of this, and you know, hopefully with decades ahead of you of good health. And like I said, I echo what Scott said. I admire what you've done and your approach to this whole thing. That's something you don't even hear that much about. Bladder cancer with young guys, or it's normally something, I don't know, lung cancer, or I don't know, but
Any cancer, but that really.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the one I don't hear much about. I'm worried about prostate and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's another old dude guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, we go and get checked
Yeah.
every so many years now, and
Yep.
I guess there are some benefits to the medical community that we're in. They do kind of enforce checkups on certain things, but apparently
Once you reach
not
milestones-
enough.
Once you reach milestones,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What happens between? And
you have to be 50 before you start getting your
Colonoscopy.
colonoscopy.
Yeah,
right.
No, I got one earlier.
what kind of weird life do we live in when we got so many things around us making us sick?
You had
and
one
yet we got
earlier
so many
today?
rules to try to make us better.
Oh, just like you say, it's just money.
So
It's just
So
money
are-
driven.
Everybody, I guess they're making money on both ends. We're going to make you sick and make money. We're
both
making money
ends,
to get
right.
you sick, and then we're going to make money and make you better.
scope this way and scope that way
Yeah.
on both ends. So are you back to mountain biking now? also?
Yeah. Yep.
So do you mountain bike at Palmer State Park ever?
I do. Yeah. I actually built quite a bit of the trails over there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was a big
You go over
project over there.
Do you mountain bike?
You're
You're just a road guy.
That's crazy mountain.
Now, do you ever
You
see,
get hurt.
I fell one time and I walked the bike out and I said I'm done.
have you been there recently?
Yeah. Well,
Have you ever seen a very good looking guy with the hair down to here and a big beard with a brown Chesapeake Bay Retriever
come to think
with
of
a
it,
wife?
I didn't recognize
black,
you.
and a black
That's
backpack?
Is that you?
That's
me.
it.
And
See the whole beard thing.
my dog's never on leash.
That doesn't bother me.
Well, he's a good
The one
dog.
that you cuss
He's a good
at,
dog,
the
but
one that
that's-
you cuss at when you come down the trail.
But
No, I don't.
but now you know who,
Yeah.
who you're talking
How about
to.
that?
Yeah.
How about that?
That's awesome.
And I knew it was you, but I was just waiting to where I could fit it in.
That's awesome.
But I knew you had no idea because I don't look like that anymore.
That's a cool little park, man.
Isn't it?
Do you live
It's
close
awesome.
there?
We're real close. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
So, what do they have normal trails that's not a mountain bike trail, or were you on a mountain bike trail most of the time?
It's a trail. It's got a lot of rock and root, and so it's really great for people that
But
like.
you were
to
there with
do
your
mountain-
dog.
Yeah, I go there. Yeah, we
He
do
just
that.
runs around it, I guess.
He runs around. Oh, he loves it there, man. It's crazy.
He just chased you on the bike.
No.
You were
I'm not.
like-
no,
he was hiking.
But we walk it at least 4 times a week, at least.
I saw a really big black bear out there a couple years ago.
Really?
Is that right?
Yeah, we were doing some trail maintenance, starting to weed some of this trail through a wetlands area.
Down at the bottom.
Yep. And I was glad there was somebody else with me. We were drinking beers. It was 8:00 in the morning, and I said, "Did you see that?" He goes, "The bear?" I go, "Yeah." I was like, "All right,
Oh,
good.
that.
Glad
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
just me."
So how many years ago was that? Because I think I had that same bear in my backyard for 6 weeks. He stole one of my deer I had hanging, and he wouldn't leave.
I think it was before I was diagnosed, so probably 19. It was the year that they shot the one in Havre-de-Grace on the boardwalk. Do you remember that
Oh, the little cub.
little cub? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might have been the same year.
I think
Yeah,
it was
It's the
19.
same year.
Yeah, there were like 3 or 4 bears out in the area that year. Pretty wild.
Correct. I've got video footage of
Yeah,
him and pictures, and he would come, and I thought it was raccoons knocking over my trash can, and I was like, this trash can is so big and so heavy, it would take like 6 raccoons to get on top, and it would have to be doing this and rocking back and forth to get this thing to fall over. I was like, it can't be. And then my son said, "Hey, Dad, if you want to know what it is, he's out there right now. It's a big black bear."
Oh my gosh.
Wow, man. Yeah.
Yep. And
Wow.
and that's what stole my deer. Yeah. I
Eric?
bet you it was the same black bear.
That was
Hell yeah.
you're inspirational, and that was a compelling little story you have there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
how often do you get to tell it?
My friends
People
would
ask
say
a bit.
too much. My friends say I pull the cancer card too much, but
You keep pulling it. Don't worry about
absolutely.
I will say I recently told a bunch of people I work with
that. Yeah.
at both places that I was free and clear, and they were like, "Holy shit, we didn't realize you still had that." Like,
Really?
I just don't. I
Yeah,
don't.
everybody's in their own world.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't know.
which is fine. I
If
get
you're not
it.
talking about it all the
I'm
time.
not talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, I never miss a day of work.
Yeah.
You know, I just do my own thing, and
Well, again, that's another example to me, because there are people who would be just the opposite. They're going to miss work all the time. And they're, you know, and listen, I'm not knocking it.
Sure.
It's just people have
Yeah.
different approaches to things,
Yep.
but obviously it helps you.
yeah, to a fault probably. Spend
Yeah.
a little too much time, but I enjoy what I do, so I enjoy.
I'm
the
sure
people
your
I work
wife
with.
gets it. And
Yep.
Do you have the lime green Toyota?
I do not.
That's not yours.
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I see you on the trail, and I see lots of different bikers on the trail, but I noticed the same.
I know that truck.
Yeah.
it's
You know
TR
the truck too?
TRD Pro. Yeah.
Yes, it's TRD
Yeah,
Pro.
yeah,
So,
yeah. It's
I
nice.
started thinking maybe that's your truck,
No,
but
it's not.
I'm never in the parking lot when they're rolling out, so I can never put a face to the cars. But I see a lot of the same trucks.
have you seen
there.
Jim's white van that says candy on the
With
side of it?
no windows. No windows.
Yeah, no windows.
Yeah, exactly.
I have seen it. Beard clipping. Yeah.
Exactly right.
With that, we probably ought to wrap up.
It's my mobile hair cuttery.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me.
Thank you for coming, man.
absolutely.
This is
Yeah.
great.
It's great.
Thank
stuff.
you, Eric.
No,
Appreciate
thanks.
Seeing
it.
all
Yeah.
you guys again. And
Thanks for your service.
Thanks for kicking cancer's ass.
yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scott, be careful on ladders.
Yeah.
And bicycles.
Next next week, I'm not going to say who it is. Some of you already know, but it'll be another good guest. We'll have a lot of fun, a lot of fun with this one, and we're looking forward to having some of the other guys back. Eric, come back again anytime.
Yeah, anytime. Yeah.
And it's been great meeting you.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Get checked
Again-
out, guys. Get checked out.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, any final
Yeah.
messages?
Yeah,
get checked out.
Get checked out. If something's weird, just get it checked out.
Okay, let's say nothing was weird. Would you be getting checked out at this
Routinely?
point? Like, what would you routinely check if you weren't having any issues? It's just regular physicals.
Yeah, just
checking your
regular
blood work
physicals.
and things like that. I
Check your
imagine.
balls, feel
Yeah,
for
yeah.
lumps and stuff.
I do that all the
and-
time,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Maybe too much.
Well, Jim's. I do Jim's.
Not with his hand.
Oh, ouch! Oh, all right, we're
You
back
should
off the
have
rails.
pushed that button.
I should have said
Should
stop.
have ended. It's
Yeah,
going
sorry.
down.
I'm editing all that. All right. All right. Thanks, guys. It's been great. Again, everybody, if you have any questions, comments, especially for something like this, hit Mike at allredwhiteandblue.com, and we'll definitely get back to you if you have any questions. Thank you for those of you who have sent a couple emails. It's been great, and we'll certainly continue to respond. Other than that, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Jim.
See you next week,
And
man.
definitely thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
And we'll
Yeah.
see you guys next week.
Yeah.
See ya.
Adios.
Hey, you've been listening to the All Red, White, and Blue podcast. It's engineered and recorded by Josh Miller. Please subscribe and comment so you don't miss any future episodes. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back with you again next week.